In our Ghanaian delicacies, leafy vegetables are not so common. It is for this reason the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research has begun a program to educate more people on the importance of including leafy vegetables in our delicacies. However, there is one leafy vegetable that is popular in our foods, which is lettuce. Today on Food Chain, we are looking at lettuce production. However, there's a twist to it because I'm interviewing my colleagues from the media who have decided to go into farming. I am starting with the veteran journalist, Araba Kumsin. Araba.
Hi, Emma.
Thank you for joining me on Food Chain today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with why you decided to go into farming. Have you left the journalism for us?
Not entirely, not
Okay.
entirely. I mean, farming found me. Just for some context, when I was younger, my dad had a small farm in the central region. So on holidays, he would take us there. So I think that's where I developed the interest. I mean, personally, I like the outdoors. And so farming came naturally to me. I was at a point in my career, journalism career, where I thought I had reached the top and I needed more of a challenge. And a friend suggested that I take up farming, because they had a parcel of land that was lying waste. Nothing was being done. And so I should consider, farming. And I said, well, you know what? Everybody eats. So, I mean, it can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And so that's how I ventured into farming.
Okay, this I understand is one of your many farms. And this is a lettuce farm. Why lettuce here? How has it been going so far?
Okay, so when we stumbled upon this land, the farmers here were already cultivating lettuce around. And I realized that lettuce grew well with the kind of soil that we have here. The soil is very fertile here. And we tried other plants, but it didn't do so well as lettuce, and so we decided to focus on lettuce, and it's really doing well. It was a good choice, and so that's why we're doing lettuce. And but we've started experimenting with green pepper and carrots, because anytime I sell the lettuce, people also ask about green pepper and carrots, because obviously when you're doing salads, those go along with it. And so we're experimenting with that. It's coming along really nice, and so very soon we'll be offering it to our consumers.
Since now you're a farmer, I'm sure you are involved in some of the day-to-day activities. Can you take us through what it means to, from the early stages to harvesting?
Right. So, I mean, it starts obviously from planting. You have to make sure that you start by preparing the beds. As you can see behind you, the beds have been prepared. When they are prepared, then the planting begins. We plant the seeds and then nurse them. Once they are nursed, then we transplant onto other beds so that they can grow individually. Because they bloom, they grow out, and so you need to transplant them as well. And in the course of that, we need to make sure that we irrigate it. As you can see, we have an irrigation system here, and so it's not a matter of just using your hand to irrigate the plants, but the machine does the work for you, so it facilitates the job. So it needs water, and it needs fertilizer, and so we make sure that we apply them as well. Once in a while, we apply some pesticides to keep away the insects, because they're attracted to the plants, and if you're not careful and you don't take care of them, you realize that you end up with the leaves becoming you see a lot of holes in the leaves. Exactly. And so you don't want that. You want them fresh, you want them nice, so that it's appealing to the consumer when we have to sell it off.
Talking about irrigation, how has the change in weather patterns also affected your production?
Well, clearly, I mean, we are experiencing a different climate now. I don't know whether it has to do with climate change, but the weather pattern has changed. We were expecting the rains in April, which is the normal time that the rains come, but it wasn't it wasn't what we expected. I mean, it was sparse. You can actually count the number of times it rained. And so we're hopeful that this month onwards the rains will be consistent, and because there has been very little rain, it affects the plants because they need water. They need to be rain fed. And if that is not the case, you then have to irrigate, which has cost implications because it means that you need to fuel your pump in order to pump the water through the pipes to irrigate the plants. So it's been tough on us. Plus the extreme sunlight is really drying out the plants. And so, I mean, the combination of very low rainfall and extreme sunlight is really affecting the plants. So we really need to step up and do whatever you have to do to make sure they get water. And like I said, that has cost implications. So if you notice, the price of lettuce and other veggies on the market has gone up. And so it's tough, but we're trying to, go around it.
How long have you been into farming, and how has it been so far? Any challenges, aside the cost implication with regards to the weather patterns and having to put in more irrigation measures?
So I started this journey in February 2023. So we are just a little over a year old. Oh. Yes, I started this journey I took a break from journalism to concentrate on it because with farming, your presence is non-negotiable. You have to be here. Even though there are farmers working with you, you need to make sure that you are here because your presence makes a lot of difference in terms of the instruction on what to do and the outcome that you're expecting. If you're not here and you're an absentee farmer, forget about it. You won't get the yield that you are looking for. And so I found out that one of the things I have to do is to be constant on the farm. So there are 3 farms, and I make sure that I move from one to the other throughout the week so that my presence actually, if not motivating the farmers, ensures that they are on their toes doing what they are supposed to be doing. So yes, it's been a year of a lot of highs and a few lows. One of them being obviously the weather. We weren't expecting the weather to be this terrible because everybody was expecting that the rains will come. And like I said, it's easier to depend on the rainfall because it's more cost effective. And so it's been a great ride. It's been a great ride. It's opened me to so many opportunities because one of my main fears going into this was how to offload the produce, because you hear about how do you call it, losses from the farms because farmers are unable to really sell off their produce and then it goes bad and rotten and they lose money, and I didn't want to be in that situation. So what I did was, even before we harvest the crops, I look for market before we do that. And so I make sure, because we don't have storage facilities currently, what we do is that I look for markets and I make sure that by the time we are harvesting, we have the market and then nothing goes waste. And we're hoping in the future that we will be able to put together some storage facilities and also a refrigerator truck, so that it makes it easier for us in our operations. But generally it's been good. It's opened me up to a lot of opportunities and I'm really enjoying it.
So although Ghanaians are not fans of including leafy vegetables in our meals, this is going pretty well and the market is accepting your produce?
Oh yes, I think that my exposure as a media person has also helped me. I'm trying to promote healthy eating as well, and now a lot of people are into healthy living. I have a lot of people saying, oh, nowadays I like to eat a lot of salads because I realize that it helps my health, and so I push that a lot. And because I'm also doing lettuce as well as carrots and green pepper, every time I go out there I try and tell people that it's good to eat more lettuce. It's good to me. So I'm not just selling my products, but I'm just also trying to promote healthy living.
So who are your off-takers?
So there are individuals and then as well as traders, market women, and restaurant owners. But my big off-takers are the restaurant owners and caterers, because they buy in bulk. The traders come here, they pick the leaves, and then they go and also sell it to the market women. But once in a while, I cater to individuals as well, because they also would ask about it and are interested in buying, fresh leafy greens like my lettuce.
What's the future for your lettuce farm or your farming career in general?
So, I mean, if you're talking about my farming career, well, I just started, and like I said, it's been an exciting ride. I can't wait for what's in store in the future. I do lettuce, but I also do garden eggs, okra, corn, plantain, and cassava, a bit of cassava. So all of that, but I try to focus more on the lettuce because I want people to eat healthy, But the future is bright. I feel that the future is bright. I am looking at collaborating with, big companies who would then export some of the produce. So, I mean, the objective is to, export my produce. But of course, we're taking it one day at a time. So we're serving the local market first, and then we're looking at the international market. And there are some opportunities that are coming up. I'm so excited.
What do you make of processing? I know you do maize, cassava, and plantain. With our changing patterns and some farmers not being able to sell their produce on time and all that, the shift to processing and investment into processing. Is this something you'd like to venture into in the future?
Definitely, definitely. I feel like we all have to make sure that we add value to our produce. And that's the next step for me, to add value to whatever I'm producing. And so I've been speaking to, a few people in the industry who are in the processing industry and who have taken an interest in some of my crops. And we're talking, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but we're talking about how we can add value to some of these crops so that not just Ghanaians, but people outside of Ghana can also benefit from it. So processing is very, very important, especially when you realize that in this part of our world, we experience a lot of post-harvest losses. And it's so avoidable. It's so avoidable. We need government to intervene and help farmers so that they can add value to their crops, so that it's not just the usual crop farming that you see, but you see some of these crops on the shelves of major supermarkets like Maxmart and the like. So it's important to add value to your crops. It's important to process some of these crops, and that is what we're looking at in the future.
Great. As a career woman who has shifted into farming, alternative source of livelihood, people say unemployment rate is high, but others also say agriculture is a very productive environment one can thrive in. Do you share in this ideology?
Oh yes, I mean, look at me, I'm an example, am I not? I mean, maybe the method that I used in entering this industry is different from others. I didn't have a difficulty with access to land because the land was available already. And so for many who may want to come into agric, one of the barriers is access to land. They don't have land. But I don't think that should be a barrier. I think rather what should happen is that government should structure agriculture in a way that makes it easy for young people to go into it. So if it means that they have to provide them with land at a certain cost, they should do that so that there's no barrier, because at the end of the day, everybody eats. I always make the example of Netherlands, which thrives on agriculture and exports most of its agricultural produce, but 1/3 of that nation is under seawater. 1/3 of that nation is under seawater, and they don't have sunlight throughout the year like we do. And so if we have these advantages, we need to take advantage of these, so that we can benefit from it, because it's not impossible. We go all the way to Mali and the Sahelian areas to go and buy onions when we have arable land here where we can make use of and grow some of these crops on our own, you know. So it's important for us to now shift our focus and structure agriculture in a way so that others can benefit from it, so that it's easier for the youth to come into it. But right now the narrative is that agriculture is boring, it's not easy to get into, it's dirty, but really it's not. Some of the richest people made their fortune from agriculture.
Talking of addressing unemployment, how many employees do you have combining this farm and the other farms as well?
Okay, so we have 3 plots of land. One here at Mampong where we do the lettuce. So for Mampong we have 3 farmers here who are looking after, and it's about a little under 3 acres. So they take care of the lettuce and the other veggies. At Bonsu, it's a plantain plantation. It's about 25 to 30 acres, which is bigger.
Wow.
And so yes, we have about 5 farmers there who are looking after the property. And then at Adiembra, where we do the corn, we do garden eggs, we do okra and pepper as well. We have about 6 farmers. So in total, I'd say we have about 11, 12, 13, a little under 15 workers working with us. Yes. So
that's nice.
yes.
I see on your t-shirt, on your cup, JL Foods. Can you help us? What does it mean? That's the brand, right?
That is the brand,
okay.
JL Foods. So like I said, this is a partnership. Yeah, so that's the name of my partner, JL. So that's where the JL comes from, JL Foods.
Okay.
Exactly. So JL Foods, from our farms to your table.
Mechanized farming, is it something, you know, you're talking about making farming easier for everyone? Is this something you would venture in? Is this something you believe is going to change the scope in agric, especially in Ghana?
Of course, definitely. I mean, mechanized farming is what it should be. We should not be using hoe and cutlass at this point in our lives, but we know that, you know, a lot of these machines that we use are expensive. So it takes a lot of investment, you know, and this is another area that government can come into. If government can, you know, import machines for use on farms that they can lend to farmers at a certain cost, it would help. But you know, farmers on their own find it difficult to invest into some of these very expensive machines, even though it will facilitate work on the farm. I've seen videos of Chinese farmers using, you know, machines on their farms, and it makes everything so much easier, you know. But of course, it's the cost, and so it's not always easy to invest in some of these things. It's tough. So this is where we need, you know, some assistance from the government.
I see you are testing green pepper and carrots.
Yes.
Is that something you would expand here as well?
Definitely. Like I said, we do lettuce mainly, but once we are selling it to the off-takers, they always ask us about green pepper, carrots, cucumber and the likes, because you know they go together when you're making a salad. And so I thought, okay, why don't we experiment and check and see if the soil will be good for some of these crops. And so we've started with green pepper and carrots, and they're going really great. They're really going great, and so we'll be expanding that and offering it to our consumers very soon.
Hello everybody, you are welcome to Farm Estate Limited. In Farm Estates, we are into vertical hydroponics farming, as you are seeing. We grow leafy greens and also fruity vegetables like tomatoes and bell pepper. We use AI in optimizing our farm, looking at something like temperature, humidity, and other necessary things that the plants need in order to grow. We have used technology to make sure all these things happen in real time.
This is not our usual way of farming. What motivated you to?
Okay, so what made me to go into this, I recall in 2017, I was working with the multimedia group, and I had the opportunity to edit a documentary titled Poison on the Menu. And after the documentary, I realized how the farmers are abusing chemicals in terms of applying chemicals on vegetables that we consume. So I asked myself, what can I do in order to solve this problem? And way forward in 2021, I also had an opportunity to join IFA International, and I learned so much about the agri value chain and the benefits in there. And because I had a background in engineering, I asked myself, okay, what can I do? I had a team already that we were also into engineering, working for universities and in terms of electrical and electronics projects. So through our meetings, we saw that we can put our engineering skill into a proper use. And we saw that there were lots of challenges, some being pest issues, some being productivity issue, and then climate issues as well. So because the problem were there, we asked ourselves, okay, what can we do? And then we started putting things together. And we saw that we didn't have knowledge about farming. So we started contacting and asking people if we can get somebody who understands plants health and plants physiology. So in 2021, we saw that there was an opportunity for us to join Cosmos Innovation Center with the kind of technology that I wanted to come out with. So we joined them, we went through the training, we had coaching from businesses and also mentors. And after that, by God's grace, we were able to get funding, which is $40,000 to start this and then test our hypothesis to see if everything is correct. And by God's grace, this is where we are now.
Ideally, you started operating when?
So we started our MVP, which is minimum viable products, in 2022. We experimented on tomatoes. We experimented on different types of tomatoes, actually. And then also on leafy greens like the ones you are seeing here, which are exotic varieties of leafy greens. We've seen a lot of progress after Cosmos Innovation Center investing in us. We've done tomatoes, we've done beefsteak, we've done cherries tomatoes, and all of this we just use just normal water and nutrients. We also did exotic varieties of lettuce. These ones cannot be grown in this country due to temperature issues and other factors. But because we have been able to come up with a robust system, we've been able to grow these things here.
How did you land on lettuce?
We got to know that we have a robust system which can do a whole lot apart from the tomatoes and the bell pepper. We saw that we could also do leafy green, and that made us to go to the leafy green markets to research and understand how the leafy green market is. And we got to know that a lot of exotic varieties of lettuce were imported into this country. And after getting to know all this knowledge, we saw that, okay, tomatoes take 3 months in order to mature. So in the interim of tomatoes taking 3 months in order to mature, what can we do in the short term? And we saw that lettuce takes 6 weeks in order to mature. So we decided, okay, since the lettuce, the leafy green market is very good, why don't we start with that before the tomatoes production? And that is why you are seeing what you can see here.
Your target market, how do you reach them? How has the market been so far since you started?
We are looking at everyone who consumes leafy greens and fruity vegetables. If you are conscious about what you consume, especially looking at how the traditional farming grows, then this is for you. The market has really responds very positively because most people see this and they think, oh, this can be in Ghana. This was done in abroad. After bringing people here, then they become really wow. And one of the things that we got to know in the market was traceability. We saw that a lot of people were asking, where do our products come from? How was it handled? And we have inculcated all these things into our products. When you buy our products in anywhere, you can scan to know where exactly the product is coming from and where you even bought it from.
Expansion, future plans.
Future. Okay. Currently, we've been having a lot of calls. We've been having a lot of conversation with people. People are asking us, how can they also have our technology in order to also help in meeting the market demand? And we have brought out a franchising aspect of the business that anybody can franchise to also be part of us so that we can all grow to meet the market demands. And also we are also looking at options to see if people that are interested in us can also invest in our business so that we can expand quickly and then serve the leafy green market. With the current climate issues which is happening, it is of very importance to adapt technology into farming. As you can see, urban population is also growing. Space is also becoming limited. So it makes sense to grow up instead of growing down. You know, normally we say the traditional farming is 2D and we are growing a 3D space. Due to climate change, it is of importance to utilize technology in farming. One of it is to be able to utilize water very well. In farm estates, we use 95% less water. And to be able to measure all these things, we have a dashboard that we are able to access everywhere across the globe. We are able to know the percentage of water that the farm is using. And as you can see, because we are using a closed loop system, we utilize water very well. We don't waste anything here. And with the current issue with pests that our peasant farmers are facing, we have come up with an indoor production that is allowing us not to use any pesticides on our products. In farm estates, because we are not using any pesticides, and you can see our farm is free of pests, all the products you get from Farm Estate Limited are all organic products.
Government keeps saying that entrepreneurship is the way to ending unemployment in the country. You know, in your small corner, how are you contributing to that?
Currently, Ghana is facing unemployment issue. And this is an issue that all of us as youth plus the government have to look at to make sure that we are able to create something for ourselves. We at Farm Estate Limited have incorporated technology into farming so that it can become sexy to the youth in order to mitigate the negative perception about farming. Our products are good to go. You can find our products in Melcom, Max Mats, Knock Knock, and also the farmers markets.
You've seen and heard it all. Veteran journalist Araba Kumsin takes a break after 23 years of active service in journalism, and Ernest Lamy, a video editor, now making use of his knowledge of engineering in agriculture. So what's stopping you? If you're now seeing this, this is your cue to get into agriculture. That's it for today's episode of Food Chain. I am Emma Davis. See you same time next week.